It is time, it's the perfect summer night. And those three words are spelled out in your eyes. But before I go on, say something wrong. I just hope I'm by